What's going on, y'all? What's going on, y'all? So we are back again for another episode review of Family Hustle. No, wrong show. Love and Hip Hop Family Reunion Season 1, Episode 5. I was looking at Rock's video for the last review that she did for last week's video, and she was like, something about this show is kind of off, and it's just not good. And I would just have to completely agree, especially given the way that they trying to do this. Like, I'm trying to hang in there. It's only one more episode left after this, so I said, girl, you might as well just stick it out. But I thought this was going to be something totally different and a little bit more juicy, but it's not. But it is what it is. Can't really complain because we don't really have nothing with the Love and Hip Hop worth watching. So they gave us something. But anyway, let's just get into this. Truth be told, truth be absolutely told, the way things have been running, I'm just going to put this out here. The way things have been running, and how most of these reality shows and most shows are back in production and doing, stuff in COVID, during COVID and stuff like that. They could have went on ahead and finished filming for the Love and Hip Hop New York. You know what I'm saying? They never finished that season. They could have went on ahead and finished filming for Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, Miami, all that stuff, because everything, I guess, is still open, and people still filming it. All these other shows have found a way around it. And, they could have gave us the rest of the season and a reunion and stuff like that. If the Real Housewives and stuff can do that, I don't understand why Love and Hip Hop franchise on VH1, with Viacom couldn't do that, but they can give us this with all these people together. You know what I'm saying? So it just don't make no sense. But it is what it is. Beggars can't be choosers. But we get into the episode, and like Scrappy said, he's gonna be conducting Bible study. It is so weird that you have a black party, and then literally right after, not the next day, but a few hours later, in that same day of the black party, you having a goddamn Bible study. I never knew that Scrappy father used to be is a preacher, whatever. So, he said he got a little bit of that in him. And, of course, Erica had something to say. Him of all people, you got Satan up in there doing all this stuff and all this shit, him of all people. I said, okay, let's not cast judgment. Maybe he got a little word that he can speak, okay? God do talk to through the sinners and stuff. He can do that. But, we all are. So, hey, it is what it is. Okay? Even your pastor, So he get up there, everybody come in. Of course, Ray J like, I'm sweating like a hoe in church, because, he got to be in the front row and all that stuff. Like, people are hungover. Not even hungover because it's still the same day. People are still drunk, okay? And Scrappy is going on and on and on, talking about his whole life, okay? And so then he started getting up there and telling people, like, if you want to send your little testimonies or whatever, you can, go around and talk or whatever. And we get Paris. She gets up there talking about how, a couple of years ago or so, she had somebody that tried to, bring her down or something like that. And I'm pretty sure she's talking about the K. Michelle situation. I'm pretty sure, because that was the biggest thing, a couple of years ago, a few years ago, that happened. And I was like, girl, you put yourself in that situation, okay? Then you had Young Jock's son. He was talking about manifesting your energy and all that stuff. Whatever. It was a cute little answer. Sierra gets up there and she talking about whatever she talked about. But baby, the night belonged to Mama D. Mama D said, I ain't got no testimony, okay? But, I don't want to talk to y'all no words, but I do got a song on my heart that I want to sing, and it's called I Surrender, okay? To you, Jesus, come on through the room. Girl, I don't know these words. I'm sitting here like, what is going on? And the fact that everybody was standing there, sitting at their seats like this, Mama D didn't get no fuck. They was laughing dead in her face. Mama D said, you gonna get these words and you gonna get these cause she surrenders. Okay? I said, you know what, Mama D, do your thing. Mama D can't dress. Alright? She can't dress like we was really going to church. I said, alright. You know, and then Mendeecees gets up there and give his little testimony, okay? You know, talking about how he was shot twice, he was in jail last year, he was shot twice, he was stabbed 13 times, he had kidnapping threats against his son, you know, he would, you know, was grown to be a drug dealer before he was even learning to read because, you know, he didn't have any male influences or male role model in the house or whatever. And then he put out there talking about some, you know, there's time I almost went hungry, you know, and all that stuff. And Judy was sitting there like, Judy perked up and said, oh, so for real? When was this? He was like, you want me to tell you? You want me to tell you? No, just say whatever it is that's on your heart, that God got put on your heart. He was like, listen. So basically what happened was my mama wasn't always there for us. Okay? And at that point, I said, oh no. Judy got up and I said, Judy, don't make a fool. She said, no, it's my turn. No, I'm finna speak. I said, oh Lord. So Judy got up there and, you know, she was like, no, go ahead and finish talking. I'm going to say what I got to say too. And she was basically trying to cut him off with what he was saying. And he was basically like, you know, you wasn't there for me and my brothers. And she was like, he was like, we was in the house by ourselves most of the time. Well, where was your grandma at? She was across the street. He was like, well, we was at the age where we didn't know where across the street was. We had to go to, you know, the neighbor's house and ask for food or whatever. You know, they lived in the projects and all that. So you go to the next door neighbor that's on your floor, ask for food and stuff like that. And so, she was feeling some type of way about it and saying, you know, how come her son never told her any other pain or something that he's going through and dealing with. And that's something that you need to talk to yourself about. You need to think to yourself about because you obviously don't make it a safe place, obviously, in a way that you blowing up and showing that you showing that he can't come and talk to you because look at how you blew up. You know what I'm saying? Like you instantly go on a defense, and I understand that's probably something that's in your life, in your past, that's triggering or that you don't want to remember and relive because it was a low point in your past that, you know, you probably couldn't provide the best way for your children the way that you wanted to. But like Mendeecees said, that's fine. And Yandy had to get up there and everybody was trying to convince Judy that it is okay. You don't have to be ashamed of it because you got out of it, you know. And like Trick said, he grew up to a similar way. It's just the way that, you know, the kids will your kids look at you and whether or not they decide to forgive you. That's up to you. You know what I'm saying? And them. And my thing of it is you can't stop somebody from giving their testimony, and regardless of how you may see something, and that person that was also living through it can see it a different way. The child can see it a different way. And, you know, Yandy was talking about how, you know, she sees the pain that Mendeecees is going through and, you know, it comes out in many forms and it affects the relationship. It affects a lot of things. And, you know, she even suggests that he talks to Judy about it. And he was like, she ain't gonna want to talk, you know. And I'm glad that Yandy did get up there and tell Judy that, you know, don't feel ashamed because it's people that's out here watching that's probably gone through way more shit than you have, okay? There's gas skeletons in their closets as well. And that is 100% true. That is your story. That's your story that built you up to be somebody that you are today. You're not struggling right now. You made it out the fire. Okay, so that's what they was trying to get Judy to see, but Judy, you know, she a little headstrong, and it's understandable. It's understandable. You don't want your past that's negative to be thrown back at you when you're not ready to confront it and, you know, take care of it yourself. So that's what was going on with that. I was like, when they said, Ray J said, Scrappy wants y'all to wrap this shit up. Scrappy said, yeah, y'all can talk about all of that and y'all can take that else with y'all. I was like, I know that's right. Scrappy, you didn't girl a mess. He already done made it boring because he was talking so damn much, and then these two get in here and we finally get some drama happen. Now y'all wanted to cut off? Nah, let me sit here and see what's gonna happen. Okay, I want to see what's gonna pop off. But anyway, they okay for now. So, they still talking about the aftermath of what happened with Mendici and Judy and all that. But what we got in this particular moment is Scrappy finally sat down and talked to Bambi. I mean, not Bambi, but what's that girl name? Erica, okay? Now, at one point, Erica was kind of getting on my nerves because Scrappy was trying to talk and she would like interrupt. And that's one of my pet peeves as well. I hate when people interrupt, when I'm trying to talk or somebody else is trying to talk. Let him get his thought out and then you come in and, do the rebuttal or whatever, the call, response. That's what we do, you know what I'm saying? But, he was just like, it took for this moment for him to realize, because he was talking about the situation where it took him, to see Bambi and Erica to be outside talking to each other in a mature way to be like, damn, maybe I do need to talk to my baby mama. Okay, that's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? But then it also took him to see the situation between Mendici and Judy, to see where his mom's coming from when she be telling her story and then talking about Scrap in the process. He was like, when she be saying what she says, it's like, leave me out of it because that's my story to tell. But I had to realize, especially right now, that my story is her story because I'm a part of it. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, it took you just now to realize. It took you just that to realize that, girl, what is going on in this episode? They stretched this episode out for this whole 30 minutes. This is the first 30 minutes that we are talking about the same damn thing, but any goddamn way. So they sit down and they do have a conversation, and it's all about communication. And of course, Mama D, she loves what's going on. You got Carly Red saying, I thought it was messy at first that Mama D would, bring them together and have Erica come over, but look at what's going on. They are actually having a conversation. Jock was even like, it's about time that they having a conversation. Like, I got 4 baby mamas, and if I can talk to them, bitch, you got 1. You should be able to talk. And truth be told, I feel like it's all Scrappy just being stubborn. Okay, Erica been probably willing to talk, whatever. She probably had her faults, most likely, in the beginning, but he was being stubborn and all this, look how quick this happened. It ain't 100% fixed, but we got to the first part of it. We made the first step, and no attitude, people acting mature now, and we come to a little understanding. That's all that needed to be had. Sometimes we just need to grow up. That's all. So, Yandy, she left out to go talk to Erica, and Judy went into Mendici's room to talk to him. And basically, we got 2 different conversations going on about the same subject, but in different ways. And it was sad. I'm gonna just be honest. It was kind of sad because Mendici stories, especially saying that he grew up in the 80s or whatever, and then especially in New York and all that stuff. I can just imagine, 80s in any probably city. That's where drugs was running wild, especially, and then the crack epidemic come in, and all that stuff, and you know teenage pregnancy. That's what Judy was talking about. She was like 16, 17 years old when she had her kids, and she just didn't appreciate the fact that Mendici got up there and was talking about her life or whatever, putting her stuff out there and not realizing how it may affect her. That's understandable, but that's because just because that's your life, or he mentioned you, that's also his experience that he experienced. That's part of him. You know what I'm saying? So he was trying to say that, I'm saying this to show that you was a strong person, like you came out of this, and I appreciate you for who you are now and for what you did then. But she wasn't trying to see it that way. She was still living in that hurt, still living in that, she probably do feel guilty that she did some of the things that she did the way that she did. And she wasn't trying to hear him, saying that you talked about something, you was always alone, you had my sister, you had your aunt, you had your this and this person, an old boyfriend. And he was like, as soon as y'all broke up, the nigga never said anything to us. He'll see us walking and don't even say nothing to us. You know what I'm saying? So why even bring him up? And it was just sad to see that, because it's a lot of people that go through the same thing. There's a lot of people that go through the same thing. Um, you know, parents try to make it seem like certain things didn't happen, but you probably turned a blind eye to it, but this was what was going on. Then you have the stuff that was happening with Erica and Judy. Yandisi, girl, Yandy, okay? And Erica was giving her whole testimony about her experience about dealing with a mother that was on drugs and not really there, and how she was her mother was trying to tell her which moment was the baddest moment in her life, and she was like, no girl, I can tell you. And it was like it took a minute for her to come to the realization and ready to actually talk and to take it in that these things really did happen, because she knew it did. It's just that she wasn't ready for it. She wasn't ready to hear that cold truth, because she probably still felt bad about it, and that's what it was. And Yandy, she was like, it's affecting the relationship that he has with his kids. It's affecting, bitch, get your words right. Look how wrinkled my shirt is. I got this shirt, girl. I Anyway, girl, I ain't been nowhere. I found this shirt. I have a basket of clothes that have not been folded up and hung up. And baby, this shirt was in there. Okay, so that's why it's so goddamn wrinkled. It's Monday, bitch. It is Monday, y'all. But anyway, and y'all can tell because I ain't been out the house. And it was beautiful outside. Listen, it was so beautiful outside. It was like 60-something degrees outside. Everybody had the music playing, and I wasn't even bothered by it because it ain't playing now. So, everybody knew the cutoff time. But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, the way that Mendici, treat the kids, she was like, with her daughter, he doesn't allow her to have sleepovers and stuff like that. And that's understandable. Like, trust and believe, I understand that fear, because that's one of the things I always say. If I was a parent, I'd be a paranoid parent, and I'd be one of those. I'd probably be a helicopter parent, and I don't want to do that to my child. I want to give them some type of freedom or whatever. But living in the world that we live in, you can't trust people. You can't even trust family members with your child, and that they're not gonna harm them. Erica said she was that mom because of the stuff that she went through. You know what I'm saying? And it caused her to break down a little bit. And she was like, baby, maybe you just need to talk to Judy about this, because Yandy broke down about the fact that Judy always saying stuff about her and doing stuff about her, but she don't say nothing to her. She don't say nothing negative and all this stuff, but it's always an issue between her and Judy, and she's tired of it. And once again, it's all about communication. I don't know. It's a lot. That shit got deep real quick. So, Jock, the next day, he doing his radio show. Listen, at this point in time, like he said, ain't no reason for him not to be on the radio. It's all at home shit, so you got to do what you got to do. Carly Red and her daughter, they getting ready for the day that they're in charge of, Juve, a Trinidadian holiday that signifies the first day of carnival in Trinidad. And I think we saw one of this happen when they went to Trinidad on one of the seasons. And they had that big old carnival festival, and the soca music was playing, and they just had, I want to go, bitch. Listen, we got to get better. Everybody got to get vaccinated. The world got to heal, because I really want to experience a whole bunch of shit before I turn goddamn 40, bitch. Okay. Not saying that 40 is the cutoff, but I just want to go ahead and experience some things. I got some years, I got some time. So let's do this shit. Y'all, we got to get better, okay? But anyway, so that was happening. And then what wound up happening? Girl, this whole situation with April working out with Trick Daddy, trying to see what he can do, since he was talking so big and so sexist and all this stuff. He said, I'm not sexist, I'm high-natured, and I just like to see sexy women and shit like that. Like, he's so sexist and misogynistic, it don't make no sense. I was like, April, I don't even understand why this is a scene. You would not be hanging out with Trick Daddy in real life. Truth be told, I just don't feel like she would be, okay? Because, like I said, he's sexist as hell, and he offended just about all the women there, and he does not care. April is trying to school him on shit, and he still does not care, okay? He creeps me out when he's talking about women. Like, he sounds so predatory, okay? He sounds so predatory and so old, and Anyway, moving on from that, Scrappy and Mendici have a conversation about everything that was going on, and he was apologizing for the way things went, and Scrappy was like, "No, like I look up to you because, you needed to tell your story, you needed to get your stuff out, and I respect the fact that you are a real father because there's some fathers out here that don't, step up to the plate." Mendici had gave an example about how he got drugs. He got drugs from somebody when he was like 6 years old before he even knew what they were. Like he was being a mule, just transporting the drugs and stuff like that. And then telling the story about how when he turned 16 or something like that, he was outside or whatever, and he ran into his aunt, and his aunt wanted to, show him somebody, introduce him to somebody, and the dude was like, "Yo, I'm your father," and he was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's what's up," and that was it. Never said hi, he like, "Where you been all my life," or whatever, and so at that point, that was it, and Scrappy started talking about the situation he been through, Mama D being a real ass pimp, and it was like these people don't understand that it's probably a bad thing and you probably can judge and cast judgment, but these parents and a lot of them that did some negative things to bring money in the house, they did it trying to take care of their kids and feed their kids, and that's what it was. And I was like, that was a good little moment when the males come together and they bond, on some real shit. But they was talking about the kids and everything, and the fact that Scrappy just now had a light bulb about this whole thing with the custody and the kid and money and Erica situation, it just irks me because you could have been had that. You could have been did that, girl. Anyway. So it's time for Juve. Everybody is having a good time, throwing the paint. Once a fucking again, why is Ray J on this show? Okay? Y'all just call Ray J just because, he ain't really had nothing else to do. He didn't have nothing to do on here. We didn't care. Okay, the only thing that he contributed to this whole thing is the fact that he told us that Princess told him to go to his room. That is it. He laying on the floor. He don't understand what's going on. Girl, it's just a mess. Okay, but everybody's having a good time. Mendici had asked Yandy, "You gonna go over there and talk to Judy? What's up with Judy?" She was like, "I don't know, and I'm not even trying to deal with her today. She keep on trying to come over, and every time she try to come over, I go somewhere else." And we saw that happen, which is understandable. Sometimes you just don't want the drama. You just want to have a drama-free day, and that's where Yandy was at. And it was nice that Carly Red got up there and gave us the history of Juve and how the French came in and made the people of Trinidad slaves. And this would be the one time where they would, be out and they would make fun of the slave masters, in the yards and stuff. And, people were saying, "Yeah, this is my culture and all this stuff and woo woo," because it's in the Caribbeans, you know what I'm saying? A lot of Caribbean, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of Caribbean countries, they do have like carnivals and stuff like that. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I love that shit. I love that shit. But anyway, I love soca music. I love reggae music, dance hall music, all that stuff. Girl, you can't tell me shit. But anyway, I just love it. Afro beats and all that. It's just beautiful, anything with a good ass beat, with a good ass drum line, good ass bass, all that shit. Girl, something that's just fun and you wind your waist to it. Yeah, I like it. But anyway, so then Judy get up there. Imagine she got a drink in her hand. She was like talking about where she from. She from Guyana, South Africa. Oh no, South America. Guyana. Every time I think of Guyana, all I think of Jim Jones. Okay, because Jim Jones. If you don't know Jim Jones, and I'm not talking about the rapper, I'm talking about the mass murderer. Okay, the cult leader, Jim Jones. Look him up and see what he did to them poor black people in Guyana, okay? Brought their asses down there and had that mass suicide. Girl, a mess. But anyway, she talking about where she came from, and you know, Mendici was over there talking to Yandy. Yandy really was listening to him, and now she tucked it, you know, trying to call Yandy out, talk about some, got, you know, you talking, doing somebody's speech and all this stuff, whatever, trying to make him disrespectful and all this stuff. And she was like, wait a minute, what is going on? At this point, Yandy was like, you know what, you trying to get under my skin or, you know, make me feel away, but what you just did is piss me off, so she ain't finna deal with it. Girl, I don't even know. See, Mendici, you should have kept your mama at home. You should have kept your mama at home. The only mama that we can deal with at a time is Mama D. And Mama D was actually being fun, okay? She was being fun. Judy, she just a lot for right now. But that was Love and Hip Hop. Y'all tell me how y'all feel, and I'll see y'all later. Peace. Wait a minute. Tomorrow is going to be we got, because I'm adding a new show. We got Queen Sugar, The Oval, and also the new show that's on called Delilah. And it's a 2-episode premiere. So it comes on right after Queen Sugar goes off. And I'm doing it just off the basis of the fact that Jill Marie Jones, aka Tony Childs, is on there. And it is from the creators of Greenleaf. So if Greenleaf is good and we knew how good Greenleaf was, I'm expecting Delilah to be just as good as that. So that's why I'm reviewing it. That's what I'm looking out for. So I'm just letting y'all know to get ready. All right. And I'll see y'all later. Peace.